Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Powerful Stuff, your one stop shop for connecting deeply with yourself, supercharging your superpowers, and connecting deeply and powerfully with the world around you. It's your host, Mare, and I'm so excited to be here today because I was thinking of a topic that I myself have been walking the fire with, that I've had a lot of clients walking the fire with. And I thought, have we done an episode recently on self compassion? I know self compassion is just the bedrock to everything and it's infused into a lot of the stuff that we do. But have we truly just like let us focus, let us double down, or as us corporate girlies would say, let us double click on the self compassion? So I wanted this episode to be what to do when you're being hard on yourself. Raise your hand if you've been hard on yourself, if you've been a little bitchy to yourself. Maybe you're in your luteal, maybe you haven't gotten enough sleep, maybe you are a high achiever and you kind of have that helicopter mom voice with yourself, or helicopter dad, where, you know, nothing is good enough, or you're under a lot of pressure and you need to get a lot of stuff done, and then you end up getting really hard on yourself and it's this vicious cycle, and then you get in a to-do list that you can't ever finish, and then you add more things to the to-do list, and then all you need to do is relax, but you can't relax because you feel like you're not being productive, and so you try to be productive, but then you scroll and then you feel bad about yourself for scrolling, because why am I just being in this like loathing energy, just brain rot? And then you feel even worse. And it gets to add to that vicious cycle of like, I am not enough, or I don't trust myself, or I'm not capable. And then your shadow self is like, ha, I was right. You truly are not enough. You are so lazy and no one can rely on you. And look at how you just spent your weekend scrolling on TikTok. Anyone? Anyone else? No, just me? Okay, perfect. No. So, all of that to say, guys, I know we all deal with self compassion. And I say, you know, you win the battle, you win the war with self compassion. It's these tiny moments over time where we are kind to ourselves, because we can only be, you know, as truly kind, empathetic, loving to others as we are to ourselves, if we want it to be sustained, deeply felt, deeply aligned, deeply embodied. And most importantly, that's how we enjoy the fruits of our labor. Like, what is the point of achieving XYZ, or having these wonderful relationships, or, getting to go to these far off exotic places if our internal world is so sad or angry at us and we can't ever catch a break or relax? You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's not this extreme for you. Maybe it just comes in spurts, but let's talk about it. So I, I'm like, I thought today was going to be a short episode. Who knows? But now I'm like, I have so much to say on this, guys. It's not even funny. But basically, so I was thinking about it. And this week, I had a lot of really wonderful things happen. I closed my 11th upgrade cohort. So exciting. There are 7 incredible women in it, some women very special to me. 7's my lucky number. It's just so powerful and cool to see all the women getting on the Zoom and meeting each other for the first time and really connecting. And, you know, my husband and I this week are also trying to decide on which house to move into next. So there was like a lot of movement there, a lot of exciting things, but a lot of indecision. And, I thought after hosting my Powerful Stuff event last week, best morning ever this week, closing the upgrade launch, you know, I would have some spaciousness to exhale, to breathe. And I noticed myself, in the midst of like having so many things to celebrate and so many great women get recommended to me at the last minute. I, I noticed myself on one day kind of like making it into more of a to-do list versus taking my own medicine of like, let's slow it down. Let's celebrate all these incredible wins that are happening. Like closing the 11th upgrade. Holy shit. 11 times running this program that I've created, that I've made a livelihood out of, that I've, walked over 60 women through. And I had to slow down that day and be like, this thankfully was before like the launch day kicked off. So I could give myself some of my medicine that I would give my clients of like slowing down, making time to celebrate, acknowledge, have like a do nothing day. So I went on a really long, like mega walk and listened to Rhonda Byrne's book, The Power. She wrote The Secret and The Magic. And then while I was like going on this mega walk in the morning, watching the sunrise, got my favorite coffee. I kind of went on my own self-compassion walk, which I learned at the Hoffman process, where each step you say something that you love about yourself for, or sorry, each step for the first half of the walk, you say something you forgive yourself for. And each step on the second half of the walk, you say something you love yourself for. And it's such a simple practice, but it really slows down that internal dialogue and puts you back into a state of gratitude, of celebration, of acknowledging yourself. And so I did that for myself, and I wrote myself a little congratulations card about the upgrade of like, holy shit, Mary, you did it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for all the tools that you've learned over the years that you can now bring them to these incredible women. And that really put me back in gratitude. And then, you know, so it's funny because we can have like a, positive or negative internal voice, regardless of the story, right? If we have a lot of good things going on, it can be this extra pressure of like, don't fuck it up. But also, if we have like bad things going on, it can be this like negative voice of like, see, I told you so. And basically, as you guys might have heard me talk about in other podcast episodes, it's all part of a feedback loop. So when we leave kind of the subconscious unchecked mind, if we have a belief that we developed in childhood of like, I am not good enough, or I don't deserve it for whatever reason, or maybe something happened in middle school where we were, we got a bad grade and, we're compared to somebody else, or who knows what it was. But then we continue to have confirmation bias to seek things that happen in our life that reaffirm I am not good enough or I am not capable, whether, it's a good thing or a bad thing. So it's almost like if we're going to tell ourselves a story, we might as well tell ourselves a good story. So all of that's to say, I had a tiny instance of that this week, but thankfully I was able to use my own tools before the upgrade kicked off. And I like to say it's not to be mad at ourselves when it happened, or like even me as a coach, it's not like I'm perfectly healed or it never happens to me, but it's to say, okay, this is happening again. I'm noticing myself do this. This must mean little Meredith is feeling unacknowledged or she wants a little attention. Okay, no problem. As her mother, I'm happy to give her that, and especially as I've talked before with my pregnancy, like it's something that I want my son to feel. I want him to feel loved, and I want him to feel that he loves himself and that he deserves to give himself love and to celebrate himself. So all of that's to say that was my own little instance of it this week. And then I've had a few one-on-one clients this week. There was quite a few, actually. It must have been the theme of the week. Something was in the air, where they felt like they went from a high of like achieving something to a low of like all of a sudden feeling very like overwhelmed, needing to like maintain that peak performance or like reach a deadline. And then they noticed themselves being really hard on themselves. And it was kind of like a whiplash from going from like a high to a low, right? Because like the pendulum is swinging. And again, if we have that negative feedback loop of I'm not enough running in the background, any external circumstance, whether good or bad, can eventually lead to that negative feedback loop of I am not good enough. So all of that's to say, self-compassion is so important because it helps actually break us out of that feedback loop. And it doesn't require like crazy, huge, uncomfortable action to do it. Although sometimes self-compassion can be the most uncomfortable thing. Am I right? So all of that's to say, guys, how we do it, you might be asking. So first and foremost, self-compassion. I love the book Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff. She's kind of like the Brene Brown of self-compassion. Like Brene Brown talks about vulnerability and shame. Kristen Neff talks about self-compassion. And when we love ourselves, we're sending a signal to our subconscious of like, I am worth it. And like, even when I'm not being productive, I am worth it. I'm worth it to experience love. I'm worth it to experience play. I'm worth it to slow down and to nourish myself and to put the oxygen mask on myself first so then I can give it to others. And that's why self-compassion begets like setting powerful boundaries, communicating, being able to vision from a place of possibility and deservingness versus like when I achieve this, then I can rest. When I achieve this, then I deserve XYZ. Okay. So the first step in self-compassion, is slowing down and just remembering acknowledging that it's happening, right? The first step is acknowledgement, and it's so simple. So versus just trying to push through or feeling that tension kind of start to take over in our neck or in our jaw, or starting to feel that shortness of breath or that anxiety rise. It's like, ooh, okay, I'm noticing those somatic cues that being hard on myself is coming on, whether it's showing up as stress or anxiety or overwhelm. So what Kristen Neff says is to place your hand on your heart. So we'll do this part together and take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And to just name it, the first step is to just name it. I'm experiencing a moment of overwhelm, or it might be I'm experiencing a moment of anxiety, or I'm experiencing a moment of feeling not enough. So the first step is just to acknowledge it while you have your hands on your heart. And then the second step is to connect your experience to the universal experience. Everyone in the entire world experiences this overwhelm, right? You're not the only one. You're not alone. And then the third step is that renewed vow, that commitment to self. I promise to be gentle with myself as I move through this overwhelm. And then giving yourself a hug and opening your eyes. Super simple, but it is what we call a pattern interrupt. It breaks that cycle from like really, whirlpooling into something crazy. And that's kind of what we see in Inside Out too. I forget the protagonist's name, but when she has anxiety, and the anxiety, as all of her emotions are personified as like people inside of her control center of her mind, anxiety starts to like spiral in tornado. So it creates that moment of calm. So the first breath, I'm experiencing a moment of blank emotion. Second breath, everyone in the world experiences this emotion. Third breath, I promise to be gentle with myself as I move through this emotion. Okay, so that's a very simple tool that you can use at any point to just slow down, remind yourself that you are not that emotion, and that you are not alone in feeling that. There's no shame in feeling that. It's a very human emotion. And to be gentle with yourself, just as you would a friend or someone experiencing a hard day. Okay, so that's number one, is acknowledging it. And the other way you can acknowledge it is you can just write it down or say it out loud to yourself. The story I'm telling myself is, right? So this is a Brene Brown tool to separate us from the story, rather than like, I am not enough. I'm not getting enough done. I don't deserve this. I don't, whatever. You say, the story I am telling myself is, the story I'm telling myself is I'm not enough. The story I'm telling myself is I'll never be good enough. The story I'm telling myself is work feels really overwhelming and I can never handle it. The story I'm telling myself is my brain is rotting from all this scrolling. The story I'm telling myself is I'm angry at myself for XYZ, right? So we just kind of get it out and just acknowledge what that scared or angry inner child or helicopter mom or helicopter dad is saying, right? And that helicopter voice is coming, even though it can sound so bitchy, it's coming from a place of fear of them wanting us to be loved, right? And so maybe if we grew up in a household where we were, achievements, the material achievements were a big deal or whatever reason, that helicopter parent could come from a place of self-protection, because it's like our parent wanted that for us. They want the best for us. And that was like their way of, all they knew how. That's like not their fault, uh, and there's a sign at Hoffman that says it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility, right? So it's not our fault. It's not our parents' fault that might be how they experienced love. And this is how they are communicating with us to like set us up in the world to receive love the best they know how, because they think they're protecting us or helping us. But it can create this pressure that we no longer need to carry in adulthood. So anyways, it's important to just acknowledge these voices by saying like, the story I'm telling myself is, right? So again, separating us from the story, just hearing it out. That's step number one. Step number two is just asking yourself, what do you need in this moment? What do I need right now to feel like re-regulated? And maybe you connect with your inner child, noticing what state they are in, what emotion they are feeling right now, and asking them like, what do they need in this moment? What would help them feel like calm and seen and heard. And chances are it's not by doing more, right? Or crossing the next thing off the to-do list. Maybe it's like, I need to cry in this moment. I need to feel seen in this moment. I need to go for a walk in this moment. I need to just like turn off my phone and stare at the wall in this moment. So just trusting whatever ping that is that comes up that you need in that moment. And then, of course, the third step is actually taking the aligned action to do it, doing that thing, in the moment, you know? And then I like to say, if we're really just adding more steps, but I'll kind of keep it simple, the fourth step would also be like writing yourself a love letter, reminding yourself, like, you've got this. Here's all the times before we've got it and it worked out in the past. Here's why I'm proud of you, even if nothing else uh, goes according to plan today or this week or whatever. Like, here's how I won't abandon you. Here's how I can unconditionally love you. And it's almost like that loving counter argument, which you guys know I love, to step one of like all the stories you're telling yourself. So it's like reflecting back all of the positive or loving things about you, and also how unconditionally you're on the same team. You'll be together no matter what, regardless of what is in or out of your control. And so after you acknowledge, you give yourself what you need, or you ask yourself what you need, you take action on that, you write that love letter to yourself. The fourth step too, or the fifth step, I would say, is just like do something to like have fun, or like get into a present flow state, or just like making it a little bit light, like showing your inner child that like they can have play, they deserve to have fun, even if they didn't achieve something. So maybe it is like dancing in your room to a song, or maybe it is going to get your favorite like sweet treat, or maybe it is just like reading a book for 10 minutes, but just like something that like helps reset and shows your inner self, like we don't have to be like militant parents to ourselves. Like, we actually do deserve to like have a little moment of luxury, even if, yeah, taking a bath or just like taking a shower, resetting the energy and coming back to then maybe if it is like a feeling of overwhelm, or you actually do genuinely have a lot to do, then from that place. And by the way, guys, these steps can take a total of 10 minutes, right? You can acknowledge, say it out loud to yourself. What do I need right now? Take some deep breaths, have a minute or two meditation, and then like, yeah, do like one little dance or read a few pages of your book. And then you could ask yourself at the end of that, if you do have a lot to do, like, what is one thing I can do today to like, if I was going to prioritize one thing, what would it be? And how can I prioritize that versus like my 20 list or 20 thing long to-do list, where then you set yourself up for failure because then you're not doing enough because you can never like complete it. Okay, so it's kind of short and sweet today, guys. But I like to tell my clients we are tested with stuff like this, especially right as we are expanding and on the brink of expansion as well, because it's our inner child feeling scared to be seen on a higher level. So they might be harder on us right now to keep us at this level because it feels more manageable, familiar, known to them. So this extra reassurance, even if you feel like you are being really hard on yourself, this is actually going to be what grounds you, roots you in your launch pad, so you are safe to grow, so you are safe to expand. And so my deepest wish for you is that you actually slow down each day to give yourself that acknowledgement. So how you can do that in a very simple way each day is in the morning, taking your hand over your heart, taking 3 breaths, and just saying, like, what do I need today? What does my inner child need today? And what is my highest self's piece of wisdom for me today? Right? You could take a few breaths to connect with your inner child. What do you need from me today? And a few breaths to connect with your highest self. What is your wisdom for me? So that way you're connecting to your past, present, and future all in one. And then at the end of the day, to seal it in, is to acknowledge like something that you did that day that you love about yourself, just like you would want a partner to reflect that back to you. At the end of each day, my husband and I say one thing we love about the other, like, I love how you blank, right? And it's like, why not do that with ourselves as well, right? Because we are the greatest love of our life. And so these are things to do when times are good, guys, to really seal it in so you have that good self-compassion, hygienic practice to fall in on. And so all of that's to say those are things to do when times are good. And also things like prioritizing your movement, your sleep, your play. Like, again, when times are good, sends that message of high self-worth, keeping your cup filled so that self-compassion that tank doesn't get critically low. And so whatever that looks like for you, of protecting even a tiny bit of time each day for movement or calling a friend or doing something that's going to fill your cup, or getting up and out of the house and feeling the sunshine on your face and getting your favorite matcha latte. So these are all great tools. And then one thing I actually am restarting with my Upgrade Mastermind group, I give all my Upgrade ladies a welcome gift, and I give them all The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. I mentioned Rhonda Byrne a lot today, but she has the 28-day gratitude practice where each day is a chapter, and then you do that assignment for each day. And staying in gratitude for ourselves, for others, like, again, reaffirms a positive story of like, great things always happen to me. Great things always work out for me. I'm so excited based on like all these good things that are already in my life that I'm acknowledging. So having a strong gratitude practice also helps with self-compassion. But okay, recapping, acknowledging that it's happening, separating yourself from the story. The story I'm telling myself is, what do I need right now? Then acting on it, writing that love letter to yourself, number 4. And number 5, going into play. What can I do to return to play, to add some levity, to show my inner child they deserve to have fun? And then, of course, if you do have a big to-do list or lots to do, what's just one thing I could do right now? But the bottom line is letting your inner child know that you're not going anywhere. You love them so much, no matter what. Please, you might even ask forgiveness. Sorry, I've been so hard on you. I know that you're just doing your best, and I'm sorry. And here's how I'm going to show up and do better as your parent, and taking ownership for that in a very loving way, in a way that you're also not hard on yourself for being hard on them, because then that defeats the purpose. But yeah, so having that loving tone and loving energy. And so, guys, I'm not going to do a full meditation today because I want you to really focus on that Kristen Neff 3-step process of those 3 breaths as just a simple gratitude and compassion practice to return to. The first breath to acknowledge what you're feeling, the second breath to connect it to humanity and everyone feeling that, and then that third breath to make that commitment to yourself to be gentle with yourself. So you can guide yourself through this meditation. And I want you to do it again when you get off the episode to really seal it in. So yeah, powerful stuff, guys. Please let me know how the self-compassion practice goes for you. Send me a note about what you love about yourself. That's why in the Upgrade, we always have a WhatsApp chat, and ladies celebrate their wins in the chat to get comfortable celebrating themselves, being seen. And this is one of the most powerful things we can do. So like, you can do that in your group chat with your friends. Send me a note. And then lastly, the Upgrade is already closed, but I am taking a few more one-on-one clients before maternity leave. I usually do 12 to 24 sessions only, just to get real deep with clients. But since it's already September and I'm going on maternity leave in December, I actually have special 6 and 12 packs that people can invest in. If you want to supercharge this with me on an individual level, let me know. This is probably the last time I'll be doing this many one-on-one clients, because after maternity leave, as I mentioned, I'm shifting into more speaking and facilitating. So if you are having the itch to go deeper in a coaching container, in the Powerful Stuff coaching container, hit me up. I would love to chat, and I will see you next week for more powerful stuff. Hey, you. Thank you for coming on this powerful journey with me. I hope it was as powerful for you as it was for me. And if it was, it would mean the world to me if you rate, review, and subscribe to Powerful Stuff so I can keep bringing you the goods. We can keep going on this transformative journey together. And if there's powerful stuff that you want to share with me, with the Powerful Stuff community, tag us on Instagram at That's Powerful Stuff or the Meredith Baker. And I look forward to seeing you next week for more powerful stuff.